Hey, if you're here, you're probably already a cheese lover, but there's a lot of fascinating and yummy things out there to discover. Your cheese concierge is here to help. Just look at this little cutie. This is called Little Hosmer from Jasper Hill Farm in Greensboro, Vermont.
Let's explore this cheese together and I'll give you some ideas for pairing with it.
Jasper Hill is a dairy farm with an on-site creamery and aging caves. Basically, they can control everything from start to finish, from the animal's feed all the way through to the consumer here. One thing to note is their slogan, a taste of place. And so they name cheeses after local landmarks or people in their community. Let's get a closer look.
This is called a bloomy rind cheese. The white surface actually needs to grow or bloom on the outside surface of the cheese, and it does need to breathe.
If you pick up a cheese like this wrapped in plastic, you're going to want to remove the plastic as soon as possible to let that rind breathe. If not, the smell of those gases can get trapped on the cheese, producing an ammonia, and you don't want your cheese to taste like that. One of the things you'll note on the label is that it says cave ripened. Doesn't that sound cool? So Jasper Hill has built 7 underground vaults specifically for aging cheese. And the reason they do this is to keep certain families of cheeses together. Ones like this that have a white rind, this rind actually has to grow and it could spread to other cheeses. So they're going to want to keep different cheeses separated based on the conditions they need to grow best. They can control it for humidity and temperature, and it's really going to help in the vaults. They can control the temperature and the humidity. And there are workers called affineurs whose job it is to go in there every day and check on how these guys are developing. They might flip or rub or rotate until these cheeses have reached the optimal level of maturity. Wouldn't you want to go and play with cheese all day?
Okay, enough talk. Don't you think it's time to break into this one? I encourage you to touch the velvety rind. It's soft and smooth. Now let's go for a taste.
But before we do, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please give it the thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I mean, just look at this drawer full of cheese we can talk about.
Let's get back to it. Here I'm going to pull out my super cool Swiss Mar cheese knife meant for soft cheeses. Notice the cutouts through the blade. That's going to make this pass right through without sticking. However, the interior of this cheese was less sticky than I imagined. And now for the reveal.
Can we just look at how much that is glistening? That is beautiful.
It really is a delightful little cheese. And now, without further ado, it's totally time to taste Little Hosmer. I can use the prongs on the end of the knife to easily pick up the cheese. How cool! Want to see that again? Slow-mo just makes everything look cooler. Don't you agree? And now I'm going to try my first bite.
It's really good. It tastes like button mushrooms from the outside. Definitely a buttery interior, lightly salted, not too much. Piece one down. On the back side of the label, they offer up some pairings, such as cider, Riesling, pastries, or preserves. That's an indication this is going to be a rich and buttery cheese that should pair well against some fruity acidity.
Doesn't that look great?
I'm ready to try Little Hosmer on a brown rice cracker that's unsalted. So I'm only going to get the salt from the cheese itself. On the cheese, it said to try it with preserves. So I have some strawberry preserves here. And I think it's going to be a nice combination. Let's give it a try. You want to be careful not to put too much jam or you lose the cheese. I think you're going to get the sweetness first, and then that kind of more savory, buttery flavor starts to come in. Breathe in while you're chewing. It really brings up the aromas. It's a tasty little bite.
And now for something completely different. I try to work in a reference to Monty Python if I can. What about pairing this with something savory? I kept the same cracker and added a piece of Korean kimchi. That's pickled cabbage.
And so you get the kimchi first, the salty brininess. And then the more you chew, the cheese starts to come through. It tames down the kimchi. It's interesting.
It's worth trying both sweet and savory to see what you prefer.
It's only 4 ounces, so that means it's perfect for sharing, or maybe just for yourself if you're really splurge.
And that's Lil Hosmer. I hope you look for this delicious cheese.
Remember, if you can't find it at your store, you can order directly from Jasper Hill Farm. They do a great job with shipping. I highly recommend it. And you can even sign up for one of their monthly clubs. Happy snacking.